So the Canes were able to get done with their win. They won the game. Well, let's get the bare bones of it out. They won the game. The Canes are ahead 3-0 in their first-round series against the Islanders. They won on the road, which, by the way, for those of you, I watched a little bit on both broadcasts. Mm-hmm. The old national broadcast, they loved pointing out that the Canes were 3-10 on the road over the past few seasons in the playoffs.
But here's what they failed to mention. Failed to mention is that in 2022, 6 of those losses came in that one playoff because against Boston in the first round, they won in 7 games. They won the 4 at home, lost the 3 on the road, and then against the Rangers, they lost all 3 games on the road at Madison Square Garden, and then of course they lost Game 7 at home at PNC. But we're not diving into 2022. But it's like, yeah, provide a little context here.
And I'm pretty sure they won 2 out of 3 at the Islanders last year.
They did.
So what are we talking about
including
here?
The series clincher? What's your point?
So they won the game. That was unnecessary. They were the better team on the ice. Mm-hmm. But did they slam the door? Yesterday, our whole conversation leading up to the Canes-Islanders Game 3 was the game wasn't about anything but killer instinct, right? If you lost last night, you're going to win the series. We both Dennis, we had Jamie Hirsch on, everyone we've talked to, right? Once you win Game 2 the way you won Game 2, the series was all over except for the formality of finishing it. But Game 3 was about stepping on their throat. It was about slamming the door. Did the Canes slam the door, or was it more of a politely shutting of the door? Was it kind of like, oh, excuse me, sorry, can you take a step back? I'm just going to shut this. Appreciate you. We'll see. I'm just going to turn in. Have a good night. Click. That's what it seemed like to me. It was not a slamming of the door by any stretch. It was very much a polite, like, ooh, if you keep stepping close to me, I'm going to keep stepping back. Like, oh, sorry, didn't realize you were sitting there. That's what it felt like to me. When you get 2 goals in the first period from your 2 monster defensemen, Burns and Orlov, and you're up 2-0, felt like it should have been a little bit less stressful of a win. I really liked that when they climbed within 1, Aho extended it, but I kind of don't want him to have to. Right? The insurance goals, I like them as like, third and fourth insurance. I don't say, hey, we got to get to a multi-goal lead here. So you get another shot at it, Game 4 on Saturday. Please slam the door, right? Don't let the door hit you where the something splits you. Mm-hmm. Because here's my question, and here's where this all stems from. Because there's many of you probably right now going, they're 3-0. They haven't lost in the postseason. I get it. But I want to ask you this. If the Canes played like they played in the first 3 games, like the 3 games they've played against the Islanders, how many of those 3 are wins if they're playing against the Florida Panthers? How many of those 3 are wins if they're playing against the New York Rangers? If they're playing against a team that is more on their level, and no disrespect to the Islanders and the turnaround under Patrick Waugh and everything else they have going on, but they're not on the level of the Canes this year.
They're not.
If you're playing someone more on your level, is what you've put on the ice the first 3 games enough let alone be 3-0. Is it enough to be ahead 2-1? Is it enough to be leading or are you down 1-2? Are you even down 0-3? Because that's what you're compared against. Right? The moment we start talking about the first round is in the bag, right? The moment we start talking about that dramatic 30 minutes, that really dramatic last 3 minutes that gave you the win in Game 2, all but sealed it, I'm looking towards the next series. And I'm looking at, is what you're putting on the ice enough to win the next series? And if not, right, and it's by all means possible that you play better in the second round than the first round. However, it's maybe logic would be that you'd play better against a bad team than a good team. And not Islanders bad, but you know what I mean, just comparatively. If you're going to convince me that you're going to play better in the second round, what are you going to do better? Who's going to play better? Who's going to step up? Your goalie's already playing well. Definitely played well last night, Freddie. And we'll talk about it.
He was awesome.
Eat the amount of humble pie that I should for that one. Although I don't, maybe Piotr does it too. But your goalie's playing well. Your top guys are playing fairly well. What is it? Jarvis, Aho, Gensel combined for 10 points in 3 games. That's about as good as you can hope for.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting goals from your defensemen. Like, there's a lot going well, except for the completeness of your games haven't necessarily been there. So who's going to play better? Right? If you're going to tell me second round's going to be better, who's going to play better and then act upon it, right? And then you have to actually do it. Because I'm again, and I've used this example in the past. Yes, I did grow up a New York Mets fan, so maybe there's a part of me just embedded deep in my sports fandom where even when things are going well, I'm looking around going, what am I missing?
So you're jaded. Got it.
Just like you know, I found $100 bill. I bet it's counterfeit. Like there is a part of that in me, perhaps.
When do you get arrested?
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to spend this, and I'm going to get in trouble. The Canes are up 3-0. I want to make sure that it's not a 3-0 against the Islanders. That would be an 0-3 against the Rangers. And if we acknowledge that's the needle they're threading, how do you make it so you're playing better in the next round? How are you making it so you're playing even better in the following round? And then acting on it, right? Then Rod has to push the right buttons and the right rotations, and the players have to step up in the right moments, all of it. Because right now I tweeted this out as soon as he scored yesterday. Sebastian Aho is the most underrated superstar in the NHL. And his 2 goals over the last 2 games have been so unbelievably well-timed. They've been that goal that they've needed. It's incredible. I don't know if you should need Sebastian Aho scoring that goal in 2 out of 3 games against the Islanders. Now, if he has to, be clutch in some of these later series, I'm fully expecting him to do so, and I'm fine with needing it. But you can't sit here and say the Canes are so obviously the better team against the Islanders and then be okay with them so obviously and often in these kind of stressful endings.
Yeah, stressful ending, but you're going to have them. It's the playoffs. You're going to have them. Expect them. This isn't like a regular season game on the road in Columbus.
No, but the Canes aren't a regular first, 2 seed in the division either. They're the betting favorite against a team who halfway through the year this year looked like they weren't going to be anywhere near the postseason.
Yeah, and you know what? Over the course of 3 games, the Carolina Hurricanes have controlled majority of those 3 games. If you put the 180 minutes together, they've controlled the most.
94?
More than that, I'd say. More than that. I mean, honestly, the third period push by the Islanders was expected yesterday. Rod talked about it. Obviously, it didn't go the way Carolina planned, but they handled it. And then they locked it down defensively at the end when they needed to, when the Islanders pulled their goaltender. I mean, you got to think, Carolina chased Sorokin yesterday. They chased Sorokin yesterday. They had a pretty good start. They had a really good start in game 2. I know the 2 goals at the end of the first period, but for about of the 60 minutes, they controlled 52 of them. For a playoff game, that's pretty damn good.
Or the opposite side of that is the Islanders have Sorokin, who's lost it right now, and the Canes won by 1. Right? It's one of the best players, if not the best player on the Islanders, had to be pulled. And I'm just pointing out that you're not playing the Islanders next round. So don't get comfortable playing the level of hockey you're playing right now.
Yeah.
3-0 can lead to comfort.
They shouldn't be content. Far from it. They should not be content.
That's my point right there. Don't be content with the way you're playing. I want Kuzi after game 1 vibes, where he's like, we don't celebrate this. 1 win. There were points in that first period was unacceptable, or second period, whatever he said. Mm-hmm. That's the vibe I want. What are we celebrating 3-0 for? Right? That whatever period of this game and whatever period of last game and whatever period of the first game were unacceptable. Until we play a full game, no celebrations. Minimal celebrations.
Hey, no celebration until you hoist the cup.
Minimal celebrations.
That's it.
Game 2 was celebration worthy because of the adrenaline, but minimal celebrations.